Hey guys, this is George from Firehouse Music, and I'm here with Lon. We've been working on this neck. Now we're going to move on with the next steps. We have the front of the neck already. As you can see, it looks like a guitar. I'm really excited about this. And tell us a little bit about what we're doing now.
Yeah, so the next part of this is we're actually going to take this block, essentially, and we're going to turn this into an ergonomic playable neck. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to transfer a couple measurements here from the front of the guitar, mainly the 1st fret and the 12th fret, over to the back, and then we're going to start drawing some different lines along the back to mark our place. And then we're going to start what's called faceting, where we will start removing pieces of material here to make sure it's fairly even. Once we start removing some of that material and giving this some shape, we'll start dialing it in, and we'll bring in George's other guitar and reference the neck using a contour gauge at different points across the entire piece, and then try our best to match it with this one.
Excellent.
Yeah,
let's get started.
That's my line. Okay, so now it's time to make some markings on the back of the neck. So we have a center line from our earlier drawings of this. And all I'm going to do right now is just kind of retrace that center line so it becomes a little darker. We can see what we're doing. The whole purpose of all of this is just to make sure that we are cutting this the right spot, and there's not really a wrong way to cut the guitar neck. It's really up to preference. But what we're going to do here is try and start off from a very clean, I guess, starting point. Right? We want to go ahead and give ourselves the best foundation to be artistic with it. So that's got our center line going, and what I'm going to do now is actually just going to take a square, and I'm going to go around from the front and mark where I see that 1st fret at. So got the 1st fret right here, and I'm going to draw that down there. Same thing on the 12th fret, and the purpose of this kind of creates a little box for us, because now I can bring this over and since the edges are still square, we can still make sure that we're getting that angle right. Transfer that onto the back, and we'll do the same thing over here. It's a good reminder to always just take your time. There's no rush here. Okay, so that's pretty simple, and you can see right here, basically all we have is a couple different lines to mark our spot. We've got the center line here that runs down the middle of the neck, and we've got this is the 1st fret, and this is the 12th fret right there. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go with these calipers, and I'm going to find about 5 millimeters. And I'm going to take 5 millimeters, try and set this caliper up so it doesn't move too much, and I'm going to measure 5 mil on either side of the center line down here at the 1st fret, and just go ahead and make a quick mark there, and right here as well. And if you ever notice when you're playing a guitar, it doesn't really stay uniform thickness from the 1st fret down to the 12th. It tends to get a little wider as you get closer to the body. So we're going to mimic that here by going up to 10 mil. And once I set up this caliper for 10 mil, I'll measure that on both sides of the 12th fret. that, and right there. Okay, so then all we're going to do is we're just going to connect those. Ooh. Okay, and that will give us bounding box here for this. Next step is I'm actually going to measure up 2/3 from the bottom of the neck here and do the same thing, create a line right there. And then we're going to facet and basically connect this line to this line right here. I think the thickness of this guitar should be right at about 25 mil. Little less. 23. Bit. George likes his guitar neck pretty thick, so we won't have too much to actually take off, which is always very nice. So, okay, so we're looking at about 15.2, 15.3 mil. All we're doing with this is going to measure from the back of the neck up to the front of it. 2/3 mark, we'll make a mark right there. Do the same thing down here. And just like before, we're going to go ahead and connect those lines. Make sure that's a dark enough pencil line. We'll do the same thing on the treble side of the neck. Mark these, and then we're going to be good to get started cutting. Okay, so now we've got the markings on the back, we've got some markings on the side. We're going to connect this this line to this line using a rasp, and that'll be the next video. Here we are, we've got the math drawn out. Thanks for paying attention to that, for every geometry nerd out there. We are going to shape the neck now, and real sophisticated tools. This is a Japanese rasp, and essentially we're just going to facet this, and we are going to take down this corner and connect the two lines from the side of the fretboard here to the slanted line that runs just on the other side of the center line on the neck. So not a whole lot to really go over here. All we're going to do is just start making cuts. And George has volunteered to put some leg work into this as well, or maybe a little arm work. Be gentle, I know your back hurts. So, and right now we're just going to focus on staying between these two lines right now. Okay, so we're just going to facet this one edge. Cool. Knock yourself out.
What? We'll do this on video, or you want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
We're going to do it on video.
Okay. So we're going here.
Yeah. There you go. Get some song. Yeah. And sometimes you got to let the saw do the work a little bit. Pretty easy, right? Easy
That's
work
not
to
bad.
do. About 12 hours of that, maybe?
The corners are tough.
All right, you want me to tag in?
Nah, I got it. Yeah, that's enough probably for people to see what we're doing.
Yeah, let me give it a go.
Give it a shot.
So some people do that. I'm just going to take this instead. So. I mean, it's a little faster, right?
Yeah.
Thanks. I had to throw a little joke at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well, you'll use a combination of these tools as well as a couple other files and rasps just to cut this thing into pieces. But real quick, we're gonna suit up, make sure we get our eyes and ears covered, and then we'll go to town on this. Alright, so we've got the back of the neck shape now. It's starting to feel like a guitar neck, which is pretty exciting. Next step here is we still have some sharp edges on the sides of the frets. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a file, which is mounted at a 90-degree angle on just this block of plastic here, and we're just going to run this up and down the neck. And what that's going to do is just level these frets to the side of the fretboard here. After which we'll come back with an angle and actually put about a 30-degree bevel on the sides. So this is just to get them flush with the side of the neck. Still hear it scraping, so it's still working. Take a minute to inspect every once in a while. That's starting to sound good. And that's about perfect on that side. We'll do it again on the other side. You hear the sound difference in that. That's just grinding metal right there. Almost there. Want to do that because you don't want your hands being cut when you're playing here. So that'll take care of any loose ends on the sides. Alright. And then we're going to swap this over here to the other side. And this is just about a 30-degree angle or so, 25, 35-degree angle. And we're going to put a nice little edge on the side. Okay, and that looks about perfect. So now these have a rough beveled edge on the sides here, and at the very end, when we're about ready to assemble the guitar again, we're going to take some little corner edge files here. We've got these little triangular files, and we'll actually go in here, magnifying glass, and get right in here to shape the edges of each fret. So that's a little bit of highly detailed work, but this puts the nice little rough edge on the side, gets us close to where we want to be. Okay, we finally reached the fun part where we can see some of the rewards of our effort. So what we've done is we've finished off shaping the rest of the neck. You can see here on the back, this looks very much like a guitar neck now. So this has been sanded down to 1000 grit sandpaper. It's been shaped the way we want it. It's been double checked by the customer here. George has given it the approval. And the next step here is we're actually going to finish this guitar neck. So the first thing I'm going to do is save us some heartache later, and I'm going to tape this thing off just to minimize any kind of mess, or at least the most mess that we have. There's always an ounce of prevention with this stuff. And to finish this, we're going to keep the majority of the natural wood color by just using true oil, which is commonly used for gun stock finishing, but it's perfectly suitable for guitar necks and guitar bodies as well. You want to keep that nice natural finish. So I've got most of this taped off here, and we'll go ahead and get some finish slapped on. And we'll keep the sides here of this rosewood exposed as well. We'll cover that up with a little bit of the same finish, and that'll make it a little darker on the sides, protect it a little bit better where there's going to be a lot of wear. But the main thing here is we're just going to try and make sure we don't get too much on the fretboard itself, because that'll minimize the cleanup we have to do later. So from there, don some gloves so we don't leave our fingerprints all over it too much. And the beauty about true oil is it's very easy to apply, and it also, like I said, gives a very nice finish to it. Hardens quite quickly, so you can often get multiple coats in a day. And we're going to show you this first coat, but after that, I'll probably end up doing about five or six of these coats on here, which we'll just do off camera. Lots of different strategies out there for finishing instruments. What I like to do is kind of make a little ball with cotton or paper towel. This is a very soft type of shop towel, and just kind of wad it up in there and make a little flat surface that you can use to dip into the oil and then dab right onto the guitar. We'll start off here on the back, and what's really going to be fun here is you can see how this color is going to come right through as soon as we start applying. So go ahead and get that a nice few passes here, and it's going to make that grain stand out so much better. Pretty excited for this project. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time. We're getting real close to being able to put this guy right on the other guitar body. So just another week or so and we should be good to go. We're just going to go for a nice thin layer over all of this. It's mostly important just to keep it fairly even. And we'll put about 3 coats on here initially, and then we'll sand it back down to make sure that it's still nice and smooth and even across all of it. And then we will continue on with another 1 or 2 coats, sand it back down, 1 or 2 coats, sand it back down, and then let it cure. And that's basically all there is to it. Use a little too much tape here on the side, and that's okay. See that nice colors coming through now. Once it's pretty even, I'm just going to go ahead and hang this up to dry. I'll put a little bit more on it just to make sure that all the finger marks are covered up. And we'll let this sit for a few hours, put on another coat, rinse and repeat. That's it. Okay, so we're here with the final product. So since the last video, we've put on several different coats for the finishing, buffed it to a nice shine, so you can see kind of the reflection there. And you can see the back as well. Nice and shiny. Smooth. But all that you missed off camera was just the more finishing. Installed the tuner heads up here. Installed the string trees. And cut a brand new bone nut. So this, I just took a bone blank and filed it down to the right width and the right height. And then marked the place for the outside E strings. Used a string spacing rule to make sure that all the strings are evenly spaced. Cut them to depth, shine it up, and of course worked on the frets here to make sure they have that nice mirror shine and smoothness. So now we got to see what George thinks.
So we're back where we started. I'm holding the finished product here, and I'm super excited to play it and give it a test run. Yeah, so the neck is nice and chunky. This is the way I like it. It's a big neck. One of the first things I like to do with a new guitar, and this is really a new guitar now, the balance is all different, is that I check it acoustically, and if you guys hear it's so loud. It has a really big sound, even unplugged. And I have it connected to just a simple solid state amp, so it's not gonna give me the same response as a tube amp, but that's okay. We'll get to see. And this is just a Pearly Gates neck humbucker. And still, you can hear that shimmer coming through. It's a pretty big sound. Definitely a lot more resonant than it was before. And way more comfortable. Holds that note forever. It just sustains for days.
Days. Wow. Yeah, you know, that resonance is, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I think probably the biggest change is that neck now fits in that neck pocket. Just super snug. And when I went to actually do a dry fit on that, ended up having to chip that pick guard away because the 3-ply pick guard actually adds too much height and actually will kind of tilt that neck back. But now that we've modified that pick guard and got it all seated in there nicely, man, it's ringing.
Yeah, it sounds really great. I think the density of the neck itself, you think, does that have an effect on the
yeah, definitely. Of it? Yeah, everything's tied in there. Make sure that all the frets are really seated well. All those manufacturing connection points being as solidly connected as possible, with as clean faces as possible, makes a big difference. So.
Yeah, like I wish you guys could feel the difference between this neck and the other. Like this feels more solid, like more dense. I just don't have another way to explain it.
And that cool oversized headstock.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the main thing is like it doesn't neck dive. Sometimes I was worried because when you make a pretty massive neck like this, and you end up with the ESG problem where the guitar is not balanced at all and it just dives constant. You're constantly having to pull it up, having to fight. That's an issue I've had with SGs.
Is the balance okay on that now?
Yeah, no, it's great. It doesn't neck dive at all. Even though the neck is nice and heavy, the guitar doesn't neck dive, which was one concern that I didn't voice, but it was in the back of my mind. especially after that really big the neck profile that we made. It's definitely unusually big.
Yes, it's large. Yeah, you're
But
right.
yeah, we like our necks.
And I can say from having set it up now that this little innovation on the truss rod is really, really handy. So
Yeah.
being able to just take an Allen wrench from the front side to tweak that truss rod is much nicer than having to take the neck off or trying to fiddle with it up here at the headstock end without marring it. So it's real nice to be able to just access it right there.
You know, and you think, you know, that hole right there would get in the way when you're playing, but it doesn't. It doesn't, because the string glides on top of the frets. The frets are high enough that the string is just gliding up on the top of that. So even though it looks like I'm going right over the top of it, and you feel the hole, you don't feel it at all. It's just gliding on top of the frets, and so it gives you like a smooth bend. So that's it's really nice. I'm really happy with the end result.
And how's that extra fret treating you?
It's good. You know, the only thing that I didn't think about, I think I was telling you this off camera, is that the design of the guitar itself, right? It's meant to have only 21 frets. So reaching that 22 fret, there's not enough access on the guitar itself, the guitar body. Makes it a little bit tough to get there.
So the next project is we just have to cut away this part of the guitar.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we'll have to route this.
That's a project for another day.
Yeah.
We have to be satisfied with that for now.
Yeah, but yeah, it's great. Hope you guys enjoyed this guitar journey, and yeah, I'm really excited. This is gonna become my main teaching guitar. You see some lessons featuring this guitar in the future.
Well, had a lot of fun building it, so thanks for the opportunity. That was fun.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll film the next project as well. So stay tuned for that.
So until next time.
See you guys.